Okay, then it's time to start. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming today, EAS seminar. And for the Zoom participants, thank you for joining this hybrid seminar today. And today, for this time, we are going to present about the food industry in Japan. And together with this, our colleague that we are now organizing the project to participate in FoodX. I think today's seminar will be benefit for you to decide if you want to go to this FoodX or if you want to enter the Japanese market now. All right, and then today we have a special guest, Mr. Masaki from the Japan Management Association, and then Mr. Morisato from University Leuven, yeah, in Brussels. And before I give the floor, I will explain about what EAS is doing. Yeah. And then, before I want to also explain about this house rule that today we are doing the hybrid event for the participant here in the hotel. If you have a question, just ask anytime. And then when you ask a question, we will repeat the question so that the participant in Zoom, they can hear what you ask. Right? And for the Zoom participants, because it's difficult to read the question during the presentation, so we will have a Q&A session after each presentation. So if you have a question, please just write in the Q&A form. Then in the end of the presentation, we will see and check and answer the questions. All right. And yeah, so that's the house rule. So I will start talk about the EAS and today. Yeah. In Enterprise Estonia, we have a team called Aasia Kesks. In English, we have Asia Trade Agency. So our aim is to support Estonian companies to export your product to the Asian countries. My role is in charge in the Japanese market. I am helping Estonian companies to sell your product in Japan. I'm based in Tallinn. I've been in Estonia more than 5 years. And then in this team, we have a Rafa, Spanish guy, who is in charge of the Chinese market. And then also we have Grace for the Indian market. And then Johanna, she is in charge of the Southeast Asia. So those for people in the left side, we are based in Tallinn. So if you have a question, just let us know, because since we are based in Tallinn, we can easily communicate with you in the same time zone. On the right side, we have Ilaria in Beijing, and then Vinod in India, and then Crystal in Singapore. You may have already contacted with them, but they are in those countries. So for Japan, we are now recruiting one person in Tokyo. After we recruit the person, then we can provide better solution and better service to Estonian companies. So what service we offer is that you can go check that the EAS website, Asia Kesks. Here's the service we offer. So in China, Japan, India, and Singapore, these are like already target market for us. Since for the Japanese market, we don't have the counterpart in Tokyo yet. We don't provide one service for the export partner search service, but we provide other services. Most of the services are free of charge. The only service what we request to pay is that market report. This is that I create a report based on the preference, and then it's 10 to 15 pages. It costs €300. And after we recruit the Japanese person representative in Tokyo, we can offer export partner search service. this is a service that we find 5 potential companies for you and then set up company meetings for you. And then we also give you the short summary of the market. So, of course, since at the moment the COVID situation that we cannot travel to Japan, it's not possible to have a physical meeting. So we will provide that online meeting. Yeah. By the way, at the moment, the situation with Corona restriction, if you don't have resident permit in Japan, you cannot enter Japan. I mean, yeah, they will not let you in. This is a strict rule, even if you have a vaccination passport. Yeah, that's also a little bit sad that even for Japanese people, I can go back to Japan, but I have to be isolated for 14 days, even though I'm vaccinated. Yeah. But soon, I hope that the government will change the rule and accept the vaccination passport. Then we can travel without any restriction. And then hopefully next year, when Enterprise Estonia participate in the FoodX, we can all go together. Okay, so if you have a question about those AIS services, please let me know. We can answer you later. So, okay, yeah, that's all from my side. I want to make it as quick as possible so that I can give floor to the Mr. Masaki. He will explain about the market entry and then the key point for the food industry. Yeah, Masaki-san.
Thank you. Sorry. Please allow me to take off the jacket. If you want, you can take the jacket as well.
わかりますか？
わかります。
そこはメインです。メインですね。メインです。ここで。
はい、メインページ。あれかないな。なんか一番でっかいページ。これですね。Okay, sorry. The first of all, sorry, I forgot the new side. Okay. First of all, I'd like to know who is going to attend the FoodX?
Probably.
Probably. That's okay. Probably okay. Okay. Are there somebody who participate the FoodX? The other side? Maybe somebody who doesn't come up. Please say okay. Because I prepared a lot of pages, but I would like to really answer to your questions. Okay, so that's the reason why I think there is a 3 persons go to the FoodX. So I prepare what you need to do, what you need to prepare. I will do it. And then those who wants to come to Japan, but I'm not really sure. Dr. Morisate is going to tell Japanese certain product is very good. Why? We're going to explain. Okay. Please do not misunderstood. We are not the salespersons. Okay, we would like to really help you to come to Japan, and then in order to come to Japan, how to make money. That is my goal. Okay. I'm actually from the Japanese government, but Japan is the same like Estonia. We need to make shake hand. We're going to buy your product, but after that, we're going to add value added, sell it to our Japanese nation or another countries. Okay, so I will tell you what you need to do to come to Japan, but at the same time, be careful. This one very difficult to come into Japan. That's Dr. Morisato is going to show you. Okay, so and then also about the question and answer. I know that you are very polite persons, and then you don't want to sort of say something. No problem. We are here 24 hours. So after that, you come to us, and then you just ask question one by one. Or if you want, please raise the hands. Same to other side. If you have a question, please chat it. Then we're going to answer to you. First one, what do you want to know? You have some question? What do you want to know? Okay, I know that maybe you don't answer to me, so I prepare how to use the FoodX. I prepared. What you need to prepare for the FoodX, I prepared. What sort of food product family is good? That's Dr. Morisato is prepared. What is the business culture? The Japanese, they like are saying like this. What sort of business culture do you need to do it? That's I prepare. Other than that, do you want to know something? Okay. Yes.
Okay, let's see. Maybe.
Okay, good. And then Mr. Yoshito already said, I'm sorry, you cannot come to Japan. Yeah, you can come to Japan, but you locked 2 weeks. There is a slight good news. We are expecting to have elections. Okay, right now, the Prime Minister, he said, no, I don't want to present it for the next. Okay, he's a little bit sad because he's a good man. There is a risk, there is another guy. If that guy is going to take over the same party, you know, then maybe this guy is not really, sorry, I cannot say it, let's cut it. Then it's going to stay. But if, I think the chance is quite high, good guy, there is no problem. All the against party, we shut them out. Because those guys are bad, the liberal guys, the socialist guy, they said, you know, there is a COVID, we kill them. Then no problem. Okay, so there's a lot of chance, but please pray for us. 13th of October, okay? Because, you know, to be honest with you, how many people die? Maybe we die like 100 people, over 127 millions. I cannot say it because in Japanese, even one person dies, they panic. But me, I'm actually engineer, mathematician, I just calculate the risk. How many people are you contaminated here every day here? About 400-500. If you're going to compare 400-500, your population is about you have so times maybe 100. So that means about 4,000, probably 40,000 equivalents to if you convert it into Japan. So you have a lot of contamination, but still you are free, no? So compared to that, Japan is really safe. Problem is that the socialist, liberal, stupid, you know, those are journalists. I cannot kill them, but that's the problem. Don't worry, okay? Please cut it because otherwise I'm going to be fired maybe from the government. Anyway, okay, so please relax, okay? I'm going to do it very quickly. First of all, I would like to explain who is the JMA. Okay, there is a lot of show. Anuga show, CR, many show, but they're all private. Foodex is a semi-government. Okay, price-wise, very reasonable. I tell you, compared to the Anuga, that's also please cut it. And then also, we really want to help you. That's different. Okay, so I take seriously, try to help you, but at the same time, you also rely on us. Who is the JMAC? Sorry, JMA, it does not work. What is it? What it should work? Then it's okay, I just introduced myself. Okay, I'm actually working for this JMA. JMA is a semi-government organization founded by the grandfather of ex-prime minister. His name is Mr. Kishi. And during the 1942, just before the Second World War, Japan really wanted to do internationalizations, and he created these organizations to modernize Japan. So at that time, Japan is really industrializing it, but at the same time, we are losing a war. And then this organization switched into the economic war. Okay, beginning was really war against China, against America, and then we are number 2 in GDP. But after that, China take it over. But don't believe GDP calculations related to the really complicated, and then also who believes the data of the China. We believe that the reality is 1/3. Chinese GDP 1/3. I tell you. Do you know somebody how many people living in China? They say 1,275,000,000. Bullshit. You know, because they have the same registrations. Okay, so I tell you, our statistician said we are still number 2, but anyway, it's okay. We are number 3 in GDP. Okay, and then anyway, that organization is my boss, and then also I'm helping BJA. BJA is the same thing. Belgium to Japan, they're asking us to help. Okay, But Estonia, Belgium is not the same country, but quite an efficient country. You are very small in terms of territory, not many people, but you're very efficient. Belgium is the same thing. So I think I've already helped them, and I'm sure that I can help you, Estonia, because you are same concept, right? Dr. Morisato is actually the expert of Japan. He speaks much better than me, the Japanese, okay? So he's going to tell you from the culture side what you need to do. But you know why? Because he's actually philosopher, okay? I will ask a philosopher because I have a lot of lawyers, friends, my colleague, and an economist, but they are nearly the same thing, myself. But Dr. Morisato, he knows why people want to eat this product. Because he's a philosopher, he's going to check the culture, okay? Marketing guy, they go to the Harvard and then they just, checking about the product, the cost, it's bullshit. So that's the reason why it's very important. You can really check why this product is good from the culture side, all right? I need to speak too much. Okay, so Dr. Morisato, if you could explain just briefly yourself.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Koh-ichi Masaki. I'm a specialist of Japanese and European philosophy. So I do the comparative philosophy, intercultural, cross-cultural communications. So I'm often work in the field of Japanese studies, and a lot of companies, ask for the consultation to how do we actually communicate with the Japanese person, and why Japanese person are not understanding the European way of communicating. So we do sort of consultation for both sides. Sometimes communication takes from both sides and then fail, even though with the best of intentions, just because the contextual differences. So this is the main work I do. And I also belong to the BJ Cultural Committee with Mr. Masaki. But my specialization is academia. So I'm academic and at part-time. That means I represent the left liberals. So we had a good balance. The speakers here today, politically. Just a joking. Okay, so that's my introduction.
Okay,
yeah.
Thank you. Okay, good. Then let's go to the main subject. Oh, can I do it? Yep. Yes, I think it's all right. Thank you. So, by the way, there is about 300 pages, but I'll give it to you. I only select only the things, in Japanese, we call it the read the air. Like, okay, the audience maybe doesn't like it, but I cannot read your air because you hardly change your face. So I cannot see that you like it or not, but, please give me the impression. Then I just cutting, because you're not like Italian. So I get used to the speakers Italian, but you are not. So please do not feel shy. Okay, first one. I hope it's not really boring, but anyway, I'm going to tell you the geographic. It's very important, the geographical understanding. Can you find the Japan? That's a very far east. Looks like a hippocamp, It's a funny shape. That's actually the Japan. And if you put the Japan overlaying to the Europe, mind-boggling, it's so big. So Japan is not that all small, okay? So it's quite big. Now compare with Estonia. Estonia is this side, overlaying to Japan is only that part, okay? So size-wise, you're very compact, but anyway, you're looking for the quite big market. Right-hand side, there is a table that the GDP, age, also health life. What you wanted to pick up, one, GDP per capita is very important, okay? GDP per capita, you are half, but you're already above the 20. So normally, from the engineer, because I'm an engineer, if the GDP per capita is more than 3,000, they start buying a car. GDP per capita is more than 10,000. They're going to buy a lot of wine. Okay. GDP per capita more than 20. They're going to buy a more complicated stuff like more the IT stuff, more complicated one. Okay? So we are in the same range. Okay, but anyway, the Japan, it's about like 2 times, so we can have a lot. We want to buy a lot of things. Okay. And then average age is also very important. What is the, the median range of age? Actually, if you're going to do the rating, Estonia is the 28th of 150 countries. Japan is actually #1 in terms of the age. So 27 gap difference, not really much gap. You also middle range 42.4, Japan is 48.4, not much. Now, if you have a look at the life expectancy, the bottom of the table, Japan the second, 84.1 years old. Okay, but this one does not include the persons who laying on the bed or cannot react. That's we don't count it. Only sort of active persons. Number 2, I think the #1, Dr. Okay. So the #1 is Spain. You are, I don't know what's happened, 52. You have the same average age, but you die quickly. So that's also related to either sports or stress. Maybe Estonian people have a lot of stress. I do not know why, but I think definitely related to the food as well. Food. Japan, food is very important. They're very safety conscious, also healthy conscious, So your product, I don't know what sort of product you have it, but if you're going to extract essence of your DNA product, our product is very organic, very healthy. And then if you're going to put onto your marketing, then Japanese catch it. Oh, okay, it's very good. All right, that's it.
By the way, #1 is Hong Kong.
#1 is Hong Kong.
Little complicated.
Okay, #1 is Hong Kong. Okay, right. Now that's important. Next one, about the economy. As I told you, Japan is #3. Some of the economists, he was actually the advisor of the prime minister. He said, why the Japanese GDP is very low? His quick answer was that Japanese bank, they don't create a lot of money. Okay, so that's the reason why the Japan, since 23 years, average income, salary, always the same. Okay, but the other countries, they make a lot of money, printing of money. Okay, printing of money, automatically the GDP is going up because it's just a number. But the Japan is quite solid, very, very rich. So please don't. China, I really do not believe them. Okay. But anyway, what I want to say is that they are quite rich. Their buying power is really super. Okay, that's please remember it. This one here, unfortunately, because of the COVID, they went down, but now projecting going up. Now it's the right moment. Unfortunately, Olympic game was canceled again. That's because of the socialist. If there is no socialist, we had the Olympic game. There is nothing, no problem. The same thing, Foodex also canceled it. But the 2021, this year, we did it. But the government said, they said, please do not allow the foreigners to come. So we did it only Japanese. Okay, that's very sad. But I guarantee, I can't guarantee because I'm not prime minister, but anyway, I hope next year, 2020, you are there. I hope, okay? Now, a little bit of sort of market-wise, GDP per region, that's very important. Estonia is in the square, 26.6 billion, okay? Not small, but if you compare to Japanese region, we cannot find any region smaller than you. Most of the region is really bigger than you. So that means each region already, it's the equivalent of the country in Europe. For example, like Shikoku. Shikoku is this small green island, a little bit smaller than the Estonia. It's already the same size of the GDP as Hungary. Okay, Kanto area that's including Tokyo, Yokohama, it's a quite a big area, is let's say about 8 times. It's really 80 times. Kanto area is equivalent to Spain and then Italy. So you should not think only Japan, you should think about which region you go there. Region north to the south, mentality was a little bit different. Mr. Yoshito told me, Estonian people is very humble, very quiet, equal to Hokkaido area, north area, you know. So maybe you should have a look at north area because they are same sort of mentality. You know, that's I want to tell you. That is actually by region, how many population living there. Back to the Shikoku, this green island, they have 3.9 million people live there for such a small island, about 3 times bigger than the Estonia, you see. So population-wise, by regions, quite a big market. Okay. When I did the same thing, same seminar to the Greece, they said, okay, good. Then anyway, I need to go to the China, then maybe I come to Japan. I said, no, that's wrong. Come to Japan first, and then go to China. And that's, why is it? Because Chinese people come to Japan to buy a good product. Because the Chinese people, they're not really stupid. Lot of food, they have a lot of coloring substances, also food lifelong substances. People sometimes get the cancer, so they don't like it. So they come to Japan, they buy it, and then change the label like a Chinese and then sell it. Yesterday we went to a supermarket. It's called Mini Meiso. Mini Meiso is a supermarket. And then actually it sounds like a Japan. It said a Japan something, but it's totally Chinese. But it's okay. Chinese, they copy it. Somebody told me Japanese also copy. No. We look at it and then we adapt value added to sell it. So it's a modification. Chinese, they just copy it. Even for the something wrong, they copy it exactly. That's the difference. You know, so I believe, trust me, go to Japan, and then you will see a lot of Chinese people, Korean people, lots of Asian people there. So I think cost-wise, it's better to come to Japan. Okay. All right, that's it. So the summary of the economy, I do not want to share it very quickly. Okay, so Japan, quite a lifelong expectancy. That's the reason why the Japanese people want to have a very good, healthy food. Also dairy product, such kind of thing is very good. Energy food is okay. Another one is that the Japan and then EU. For Japan, the EU is actually the 3rd largest market. Okay, so when we sell it to something. Toward the Europe, the Japan is the 7th largest, so it's a quite important market to each other. Okay, so a lot of your colleagues, by the way, I already helped the same sort of seminar. I did it 5 years ago to a Finnish company. No, more than that, about 8 years ago. And then they started it, or started with a 5 company. Now 5 to 7, now 20 Finnish company present in the FoodX. They're all happy. Okay, so I don't want to compare with Finland and you, but just, you know, because the neighboring country, that's the reason why. Okay, the Japanese, they really, how can I say, very traditional persons. And then they really wanted to sort of keep their traditional taste as important, but at the same time, Japanese is not that close-minded. Always they wanted to taste something new. Imagine if you come to Japan and then together with Mr. Yoshito, big flag of Estonian, Japanese guys, come, what is this? I guarantee. So Japanese really wanted to check something or try something new, particularly the youngsters, ladies. They are quite adventurous, you know, they really wanted to check it. Also, the frozen food is also growing. The reason why frozen food is growing is that the Japanese ladies, men, they work quite hard and they come back to their home quite late. They don't have much time to cook. So therefore, frozen food is very good. However, Dr. Morisato, Japanese oven is very small, so
Most houses don't have ovens. So that's one of the challenges. Or sometimes a microwave that converts the oven. But all pizza cannot go.
yeah, I just repeat that in Japan, even if you have a frozen food, the oven is not really sophisticated oven. So therefore, when you make a package of the frozen food, you should do it very compact packaging for the frozen food. That's Dr. Morisato said for the audience over there. Okay, good. Okay, that's it. By the way, all the document that you're going to have it. So I just do the sort of most important thing now, okay? Because I see that it's you think it's boring, so I just stop it. Okay. Scheiße. Good. Yep. Okay. Good. Then I just go to. I do the sort of check now. Here I'm going to tell you what sort of Estonian food is trading right now. That's I'm going to tell you. What is the Japanese food industry? I'm going to a little bit tell you. Also, Dr. Morisato is going to tell about sort of most focused food like a dairy, also the organic food, and also non-alcohol. What sort of perspective can you see? That's Dr. Morisato is going to explain from a culture viewpoint, at the same time marketing viewpoint. And also I'm going to tell you about the FoodX. Okay, FoodX is not just presenting your product, but also there is a lot of other ways to utilizing it. That's I'm going to tell you. Also what you need to prepare. Okay, so first one is that the Estonia product. What sort of Estonia product you have? I saw that one of the gentlemen was here. Okay. Those two artisan honey. I thought that artisan honey. Maybe hello, artisan honey. I think today's representing. No, I think maybe okay. So Mr. Sanders is the president. I think he's the son of the owner. I think he is quite successfully doing a business through our distributors there, and then also Meveda is actually the second generation. Those are honey products, okay, but they're not directly selling. They have a partner in Japan. Okay, and the key is that how to find the partner is actually the key. All right, and then to find the partner, we're going to help you through the FoodX, because that's a good way. That was a 2021 show. So this show was only the Japanese people are allowed to go there. At that time, there is one organization called the Baltic Gastronomy. That the Japanese agency, they bundle all the stuff together. But I checked it, that was not only Estonian product, but also Lithuanian there. And then also I also checked with the embassy of Estonia in Japan at quite unknown, so I'm not really sure whether they are solid or not. But anyway, they are there about the Estonia. Okay, and then now, how the artisan honey and the Meveda they are dealing with it. As it show it, they are manufacturer, and then there is the importer. It's called the Lauda. Lauda is the importer, and this importer, after that, they sell it to the retailer. Okay, so that's actually, there is an importer, and then importer sell it to the retailer. That's the way. And then they get the consumer. In terms of retailer, Tokyo Hands, Don Quixote, also the e-commerce, Yahoo, Rakuten. Lauda itself, they together with Rakuten, they're doing business as well. And then also Amazon.com, they are selling it. But Japan is still not at the sort of, how can I say, e-commerce is not that popular, because probably Dr. Morisato is going to tell Japan, there is a, how can I say, it's like a kiosk type of supermarket. Here it's called a kiosk, no? In Japan, it's called a convenience store. That's a really important place to sell it. So what I want to tell you is that when you meet with some buyer, you need to check, do you have a contact with the convenience store or not? That's quite the key. Then you can sort of expect the volume business. All right. And we should not forget about Mr. I cannot, his Hoverson, Kaido Hoverson. Yeah. He also kind of mediated the bulk snack, and then he sold it to Lovins. Lovins is also the importer. And that Lovins sell it to the retailers called Jupiter. The Jupiter is, yeah, actually they have also the supermarket type of thing, but their main business is the cafe. You know, the coffee and then also some snacks together with the coffee. That is their business. Jupiter is a quite a big coffee shop plus convenience store. Okay, that's they're doing, right? And this Grand Chips is sort of famous, but if you ask the consumer, nobody knows it, unfortunately. Okay, good. That's it. And about this artisan, it's a very nice bottle. And those are the price range. I do not want to go detail, but that's it. Mr. Sanders, if you want to say something, please chat us now, okay? And then it's a quite nice package. I do not know who designed it, but it's really nice. Later on, we're going to also tell such kind of honey. Actually, we recommend you to sell it through the gift market. In Japan, there is a gift season because Asian, all the time we give a gift. For example, you go to the wedding, okay? You need to bring a gift. That's the European way. Japan is the person who invite also give a gift. It's very strange. Okay, I go to the funeral, okay? I think normally funeral in Europe, you don't provide a gift, huh? But anyway, in Japan, go to the funeral, you need to pay, okay? Like donations. And the person who organized the funeral must give a gift. So really gift culture is very important. And the honey like this is really, really fit with you. The such kind of gift market. So gift market is also very important. Okay, that's the actually Estonian product. All right, now summary, I give you the summary. Estonian food products being retailed in Japan are very few for the moment, like honey. Okay? The market entry to Japan of those products were initiated by treasure hunter. So somebody who really love Estonia, they come there, that's very interesting, the treasure hunter. Okay, those people just find it and then put into the discount shop or e-commerce. Okay, we call it jack of all trade. That's actually quite discounted shop, that kind of thing. And not yet recognized that the mass retailer, okay, like a big supermarket or restaurant or such kind of things, they are not yet trade. So what I wanted to tell you is that's the reason why there is an opportunity. Okay, that's what I want to tell you. And Japan is most important is the safety. The morning we had the session about wood. Okay, and then some gentlemen said, "Oh, Japan is a lot of regulation. It's quite hard." That was before. Now we already made it. Shake hand with the EU, EPA. So there is no kind of blockage. Only the thing is the safety, particularly food safety is very, very important. But I think the same here. I think you cannot buy the Chinese strange food. No, I think. So the same, I think your safety level is, I think, equivalent of Japan. So no worry about it. But important is that the quality of like a package, quality of like taste, that is more important. But that's nothing new, no? So yes.
So can I ask? I'm from Hakajoki, and what do you think? Why it's so that there's so few companies selling Japan food today, but only some reflecting our mass?
Okay, I think because you don't come it. You never tried, no?
So it's actually no activities from Estonian part.
Yeah, the Finland is the same thing. When I went to the Finland because of the Finnish government asked us, so we went there. They don't know, and then they have a completely wrong idea. Japan is far away, very expensive. And then I said, have you ever been to Japan? No. Who think that Japan is expensive? You know, for me, Norway is the most, to be honest with you, I never feel like I'm poor, okay? Because most of the place was very cheap. But when I went to the Norway, I'm like a beggar because a tram, to one way the tram, I need to pay equivalent of the €8. So I think Europe quite expensive. I think like a hotel, restaurant. So I think Japan is not that. If you are looking at it, the GDP sort of by numbers, GDP by capita, also our average salary, it's not that expensive. That's one thing. Another one is that the Japan is really different. It's not much different in terms of organic food, and there is a lot of similarity. So of course you need to understand the difference. So answer to your question is that I think you never try it. By the way, have you ever tried China?
Yes, we do sell in China.
Okay, and then?
No, then we're selling there.
You're selling well, no?
Yeah, we just started, so hopefully.
You see? So, I mean, China is relatively easy to enter, I think, because it's quality-wise, there is a lot of variance. You see, because many. By the way, Dr. Morisato lives also in China, so he knows.
Which products are you selling?
Natural mineral water.
Mineral
Ah,
water, okay.
this one yesterday. Yeah. Okay.
So what do you think? For Japanese
Come to
food?
Japan. Forget about China.
Okay.
Okay.
We do so.
Yeah, because this is a very nice looking, huh?
So
This
is what
one.
I appreciate that the market.
Yeah, the please
I
come.
mean, the Chinese market, I mean, it's huge for water because their faucet water is extremely contaminated. It's chemical pollution. So there are quite a bit of drinking bottled water culture in China in general. So that might be a little exception. But Japan also started to produce a lot of bottled water. One of the consumption highest is the United States and Japan neck and neck. So it's a huge market for natural mineral.
Okay. Other side of the people, the question was that why the not many Estonian food traded in Japan, and then my answer was that you never tried it. That's my answer. And the ladies, they're selling water to the China, and then it's quite nice. I think the glass bottle. And Dr. Morisato said that the China, the water quality is not really reliable. That's the reason why the consumer really loved to buy water. That was the sort of discussions. Okay, good. Then I just go ahead. Where was it? The Japanese market safety. Okay, well, maybe this one is maybe you read it right. Okay, because yeah, advice. This is more important. There is a way to enter into Japanese market that the direct. Okay, so you try to find the buyer. If you want, I can introduce the buyer, no problem. But to do the, how can I say, stable and then gain the reputations, you really need to do effective business, because otherwise misunderstanding with the consumer, then it take quite times. So shortest way is actually you need to how can I say go through actually the FoodX type of exhibitions. There is also another exhibition as well. So if you want, you can go there, supermarket show, for example, and go there and then catch the consumer's trend or like a buyer. And then you start working on it. So you can do it, searching the buyer by the online and send it, but you cannot succeed in it. Yeah, unfortunately, you know, the same thing. I don't know anything about Estonia, and then all of a sudden I'm going to write a letter to your company, you know, and then I have a better water. Do you want to do the partner? And they say, you never answer, no, because you never see it. So you should utilize these exhibitions like marketing research. At the same time, you try to meet with real consumers. You know, that's you need to do it. Also, you should think of how the Japanese decision-making process is working as well. That's also needs to see it as well. Okay, so direct is actually not the shortest way. Like indirect is actually more shortest way. That's I want to tell you. Okay, but anyway, nevertheless, I give you the list. If you want to fail it, I give it to you. Okay. Right. So this is a trader. This is a trader. Okay. This is the trader. They're trading okay, Estonian product. So please go ahead. Okay. You don't take a photo? No. Okay. Right. Then I will go for the another one. Why does it work? Oh. Come on. Sorry. Why? I don't know why it doesn't work. I wanted to go back. Yeah, strange. なんでこれ戻んないんですかね。変だね。あ、またこれだ。失礼しました。Then I would like to go for the yep. This is actually is very useful for those who are not yet wants to come to Japan but are interested in Japan. What sort of food is very good? Dr. Morisato is going to explain the area of the non-alcohol and then also daily food, organic food. What is the situation right now? Yep. Dr. Morisato. Yep.
We taking a break or?
I think we have still 10 minutes also.
Okay.
You won't fit within 10
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then I will change it. Yeah, I will change it. Then I'm going to tell. Sorry, because we're going to take a break in 10 minutes, right? Then I have some another subject to tell. Okay. The food industry. That's maybe that fit before Dr. Morisato has explained. People think that the Japanese, we are eating raw fish. We only eat rice. You know, reality is no. Look at here. This is only put it in 2014. Rice is the top one, going down, really steeply going down. Dairy going up. You see, and then also the vegetable is going up as well. And then the fish and the meat. You know, this is actually the blue line. Fish, no, actually meat took over the seafood. Of course, the amount of meat is not that much. Normally, when I go to Japan and buy a meat, we buy it like 100 grams or 200 grams, not like a kilo. But still, you know, we become, how can I say, meat consumers. Okay, so rice, if it's a rice, you need to have a, how can I say, the ingredient which would fit with the rice, or like side dishes fit with the rice, very traditional one. But now we eat a lot of meat. So therefore, the side dish which fit with the meat is also quite, how can I say, possibility of the marketing as well. And then also like a dessert, you know, such kind of thing is very important to know. This one, this is actually the little bit peculiar, but about the trend. This is for the key characteristic of the Japanese consumers, obsessed to take part in the trend. Okay, how can I say? I just to give you a little bit digress. Japanese, when I actually met with the young ladies, okay, the young ladies, Japanese, they told me that please buy the Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton is not really good qualities. Elements is better, but you know, they think about just the trend. Everybody had a Louis Vuitton, so it's not important like this. So the trend is very important. If somebody is out of the trend, people think that you are too old or something. So the trend. So if your product is on the trend, or if you know this is the Japanese trend, and then if you own, it's automatically going. Okay, that's also the Dr. Morizata is going to explain about it. Extremely vulnerable to fast in the season, limit time offer. So fast in the seasons, like, you know, I also drink a lot of wine. And then most of the Japanese big guy, the president of Toyota, oh, I wanted to buy Beaujolais Nouveau. Beaujolais Nouveau, that's the horrible wine. But the Beaujolais Nouveau is a limited. So the Japanese are crazy about it. They pay 200 euro for Beaujolais Nouveau. It's cost only 10 euro. So I don't want to say manipulate, but you know, the Japanese are thinking like that. You see, not to manipulate, because your product is very good, but they think like this. Okay, that's also the key. Next one is the key on special days. Triggered partly the, that's crazy, really, because I'm very, very busy, and then sometimes I've forgotten about Valentine's Days. Okay, Valentine's Days. Valentine's Days, by the way, we need to buy chocolate. Europe is different. You buy a flower or something, right? Okay, but they're crazy. Valentine's Days. Japanese gentleman, Japanese lady needs to give for the men the chocolate. Very strange. Okay, and ladies, they really focus on the that day. That day is 14th of February. Okay, they're also making a queue because 15th of February is too late. Only that day. You know, it's really crazy about it because there is a time difference. For me, it's okay. You know, like 6 hours between Tokyo and Estonia, no? But they don't think like that, only that day. So that's also the little bit peculiar type of thing, because Japanese very obsessed and then punctual, eager to pay more for assured quality. That's the chance. You know, if you think like, okay, this is a very good product, also very cheap, huh? Cheap? No, I don't buy it. Good, expensive. Okay, Chinese said bad, expensive, they sell it, you know, in Japan. So proud of your product, your very, very good product, and then you sell your reasonably good price. Forget about the reductions, okay? That's very important. We call it the LCD HPV, low distributed value or high perceived value. Okay, I just give you the example. Lexus, Toyota, they fail it because the Toyota is a very good car, but they come and then they sell it very low price. Even if the good car, nobody buy it. It's like a Hyundai, you know, but the reality is not. So that's the reason why Lexus is created, just to change the image, but the same engineer make it. Same thing. If it's a good product, calm is the high price. Easy to going down, but the going up is very, very difficult, I tell you. Okay. I think maybe we can go for the okay.
Do you have any questions? Yeah.
I have one.
Okay.
Coming back to the Japanese map.
Yep.
You were talking about this tiny island.
Yep.
3 million people.
Yep. It's
So, for example, if we speak about the special area if you want to go, how the decision making changes. If we speak about retail chains, for example, are they able to decide locally, or anyway I need to go to the head office somewhere in Tokyo?
no, actually, like you can treat like each of the country, but there is also the distributor, there is a department store, so the same thing. For example,
if it's national, whatever
okay,
chain.
if it's a local one, okay, and now I understand it. If it's like a big national,
yeah.
Of course, it's better to speak with a central, but at the same time, central people internally speak with the local.
Yeah.
You understand it? For example, like a big department store, that department store has also the local office. You communicated, for example, directly with the local head. Okay? They communicated internally with the head office, and then they decide. Okay? if you're going to communicate with a head office, but you wanted to sell in the local, same thing, they need to discuss by themselves. So for you, there is a two channel, but the decision-making result is the same. Did I answer to your question?
Yes.
I would like to add also one comment to Mr. Masaki's answer. In Estonia, I think, for example, the supermarket, maybe you have 6 or 7 big brands dominate the market, right? But in Japan, the same size the market, I mean the supermarket. Before I checked, there are more than 1,000 supermarket companies there. Yeah, they are not like tiny; they are big ones. And then even the biggest brand national supermarket, they have only 10% of the market share. Only 10. So in Japan, that the local, regional the market economy is also strong. Yeah, that's why in Japan before this, the French, the Carrefour, and the UK Tesco, they tried to enter the Japanese market, but they failed because they couldn't control. They tried to, negotiate with the suppliers, with Japanese producers. Then the Japanese producer didn't listen to them. Yeah. So in Japan, it's quite complicated. There's no, one winner. So yeah, like Mr. Masaki said, that they think about regional area. If you go to those regional area, there's a key the players. Maybe they are not controlled nationwide, but they control those regional area, and they are strong. So.
And decision-making process is done also locally.
Yeah. And the same, for example, this Japanese, the biggest supermarket or store called Aeon. Aeon is the biggest chain in Japan. Even they have a lot of subsidiaries companies. So Aeon Tokyo, Aeon Nagoya, Aeon Osaka, it's different entities. But I guess for the main product, what they sell, for example, private brand, their brand, then the headquarters maybe has, they have a procurement branding department. So, but yeah, it's not easy to talk with those headquarters. Yeah, so that's why we always recommend that the companies to participate in trade show. This is more the best way to meet those buyers. Okay. I think from Zoom participant, we don't have any questions so far. So let's have a 10-minute break, and then we'll start. Yeah, after 10 minutes. Okay. For coming back, Masaki-san, actually, there's one question from the audience. Is there any reason you pick up just couple of Estonian companies in the Japanese market? Like Artisan Honey, Nevada, Barsnak, do they enter to the Japanese market via Foodex?
No, actually, we visibly found only 3 companies. Those companies, as far as I know, they have never participated.
They did. Barsnak, they did.
Through the Barsnak, but the
Artisan Honey was also there.
Okay. With the Barsnak, no?
They're different.
No, Baltic Gourmet or something.
Not sure, but I know that Barsnak, they try to participate in the
Yes, with Loving.
Okay.
Loving, but
yes.
they did not come, I think.
Because of it was cancer.
COVID, yes.
Yeah. But yeah, the background of that information is that this Masaki-san, he researched in the Japanese Japanese colleagues, what the Estonian product available in Japan. So I didn't tell anything to him. He just found it.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. So he didn't pick up only those. Just he found only those.
Yeah.
Maybe there are more, but he couldn't find it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now we will move to the. We will move to that.
Mr. Morisato. Okay.
Okay,
Right.
yes. Thank you. I just have to stand in the right corner. And so the title of my presentation is Consumer Trends in Japan. So it'll be much more bigger picture of Japanese consumer culture and trends. And this presentation has two parts. So the first part, I'm going to give you the general context of how Japanese people shop. So what are the decision-making processes and psychological behaviors? And then second part requests, I'm going to focus on three different categories. The first one is dairy product. And then second item is alcohol and non-alcohol beverages. And then the third one is organic food. So what are the trends in these categories? So you pick the one category, but you won't be able to understand what that means unless you actually apply to general context. So you'll be able to see the big picture of Japanese economy. All right, so that doesn't work. Let me click. So this is the first part, the general consumer psychology and the behavioral pattern in Japan. Of course, the baseline is always a negotiation between cost and quality, right? So during the economic miracle, people pay attention to quality at any cost because they have so much money. At the end of the economic miracle in 1991, always the cost wins over the quality. And also, even before pandemic, Japanese people suffer from this general future anxiety. Like, okay, it's okay right now, but I don't feel it's gonna last too long. Because of that, there's sort of hyper, projection toward this buying cheap. So buying good stuff for cheap is the baseline. And I think it's common to any countries in Europe. But this is an interesting point, and Masaki-san pointed out a few times, and these are the actual research. There are researchers that actually ground these statements to the two extremes, general tendency among the Japanese shoppers. One extreme is more than 70% of Japanese consumers buy what they like, for even if it's expensive. And they explain this kodawari naru mono. Now, kodawari means there's one exception or few exceptions that you're going to have. I'm going to buy all the things for cheap, but the one thing I'm not going to compromise. So for instance, I like coffee. And if I drink really cheap coffee in the morning, my cognitive capacity and the day will be affected. So I'd rather pay for the Italian expensive coffee, for example, right? And so even if I buy all the other stuff cheap, there's one item that I always go for the premium. Now, the trends that he was talking about, that's a group premium, right? The kodawari. But then there's always individual. So if the one individual say, I like to buy cheap mayonnaise, but I've never compromised for the honey. And then you should go for the premium. So you just have to negotiate. Are you going for the cost performance or you're going for the premium side? So this is another very, very notable pattern among the Japanese shoppers. And then the other extreme is like, I'm just going to buy cheap. Like cost performance plays an important role. So I think in order for the successful marketing in Japan, you have to make a decision, which side are you going to go? Are you going for this premium or are you going for the cost performance? And of course, it's always negotiation between the two, but there's notable two extreme movements within Japanese market. Masaki-san already mentioned this. Convenience factor plays an important role for determining what counts as a reasonable cost. So of course, when you have this conflict between cost and quality, what counts as a reasonable cost? And convenience factor plays the most important role. So if you go to the grocery store 500 meters away, or you go to the convenience store 50 meters away, and there's a price differences of 100 yen, which is about 80 cents, people will go for the convenience store. So the more and more people shopping in convenience store, the term you have to remember is konbini. Japanese love to abbreviate any long word into the short. So like convenience store is abbreviated as konbini. So if you talk to the distributors in Japan, you ask them, do you have access to konbini? They know what they're talking, because the more and more people shop at the konbini than in the grocery store, the supermarket these days.
We had
we were talking before in the break about this frozen food
Yeah.
and convenience food.
Yeah.
Isn't that sort of like contradictory element in the society that you have fresh fish, fresh vegetables and fruits, and then you sort of spoil that with frozen food?
Yeah.
Is that, what is the reason behind it? Is it just time or?
Yeah, so there are convenience factor where you can actually eat fast, but I think if you had distinctions between fresh food and a frozen food and the quality is drastically different, most people wouldn't buy frozen food in Japan. So there are industries where they come up with technology to make the frozen food, when they defrost it, they taste like fresh. So that's the kind of movement even among the frozen food industry in Japan. So even in the frozen industry, recently they have this frozen sushi, defrost it, and then it tastes like one of the fresh made sushi. So there's sort of like premium movement even within the frozen industry. Also, there's gender differences. The shopping pattern is quite different. More women than men focus on quality over cost. And I think gender differentiation in terms of packaging in Japan is quite distinct. So some of the packaging is obviously made for women, but men. Yeah. Also, the value shift since the end of the economic miracle in early 90s, is that the concept is always like, I rather own the product if I'm going to use it. They started to think, well, if I'm going to use it twice a year, I rather rent it rather than use it. So the pay for the user. This is quite recent development among Japanese shoppers, that I don't have to own product. Okay. More than 68% of Japanese consumers actually do diligent research. They're making an effort to understand goods and services. So at least more than half people wouldn't do impulsive buying. They just pay attention to the product. So they do the research. And then food is a #1 category where they feel they're spending the most amount of money. So they did the survey of a group number of people said, oh, I'm just spending too much money. It sounds tragic to the food industry, but it's not, because they also answer, I would like to keep spending more money. If I had more money, I would spend money on food. So food is a very lucrative category in Japanese economy. Also, they really like to check the products at the shops where they regularly go and research what they're buying. So they do internet search, they do read on products, but at the end of the day, they have to hold it in their hands. So this is another thing, the FoodX is the opportunity where you can actually hold the product. For countries like Japan, it's very important that you feel what you're holding. You will hear from all the other people through the social networking services, oh, this looks pretty and all that. But at the end of the day, like him, you would have to hold that product in his hand. And that's why convenience store is important. They don't like new products in general, according to the research, nor are they prone to impulsive buying. So they do research, check on site, and then buy new products. Yeah, okay. They're not easily swayed by others' recommendations. So like your mom comes and says, oh, I tried this honey, this is amazing honey, you should try it. Doesn't necessarily persuade the children to buy the same product. So they would have to be persuaded rather individually in that regard. Now, this is a Nomura Research Institute 10,000 customers, a consumer survey. They do every 3 years. They interview 10,000 consumers. And November 2018, they did this right before the pandemic. And November 2021, so this year, they're going to do it. And we don't have the results yet. But they said, Ochanoma, which is the share family space, is gone because everybody's holding a smartphone. Now, Ochanoma looks like this. People sitting down face-to-face in family, put down the phone, drinking tea. That's the sense of Ochanoma. And this is how the information was always distributed among the Japanese people before the smartphone. But once the smartphone comes in, what happens is that all the family members stop meddling in each other's decision making. So your peers and colleagues and friends will inform your buying decisions. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, they are absolutely important for marketing in Japan. There's a strange increase of nationalism in youth. For the post-war Japan, Japanese people general tendency is that Japan had this false value during World War II, and then we made a huge mistake, so we shouldn't be proud of being Japanese. That was the 20th century, second half of the 20th century education. But in the younger generation, they are proud that they are born in Japan, especially among young women. So somehow you have to culturally tie to the image of Japan in the product. If you could do it, I think that would be added value for their buying decisions. Also, they have basic trust in well-known brands, even though that's not the deciding factor. And the biggest deciding factor is customer review. So example is something like this. If you have a known brand of sneaker, and then you have a Nike, 9 out of 10 times people go for Nike. Even if the known brand is better than Nike. But if there is an Instagram, Twitter, Facebook review saying this known brand is amazing shoes, and then Nike shoes has like a 2 or 3 negative review, most people buy known brand because there's a positive review and you actually go on site and hold it, put it on your foot, and it's better. And that's how you sway. So the negative review is a very powerful factor not to buy among the Japanese shoppers. Also, they feel there's too much information. Once you go to the internet, there's like 1 million reviews on one product. There's restaurant, any products that you have in Japan, you have a like review site. So they want less and more accurate information about these products. So just the key point, this is Estonian best shoes. And then this famous football player actually wore this in his training, something like very to the point information. So the summary of Japanese consumer trends in general. So there's either or, so low cost or premium tendency. And word you have to remember today and go home, think about it, is konbini, convenience store. And also to pay attention to the social networking site online reviews because they're very persuasive factor to Japanese shoppers, and always make your goods available on site. If they can hold it, they're very unlikely to buy that product. They simplify the key information. If possible, tie the positive image of the product to Japan. So recently, I was just talking to Mr. Masaki, and Mr. Yoshito. Netflix show. Does anybody watch Netflix? Do you know Japan Sinks? It's anime. It's a very famous novel adaptation in the anime. And one of the main characters is the Japanese YouTuber living in Estonia. So like the image of Estonia just popped up in the Netflix among the Japanese viewers. So if you could like make that Estonian image to the Japanese culture in some way, I think your product would have much more different differentiation than just straight in going to this from Estonia. Yeah. So first item on the menu in the second part is the dairy products in Japan. This is a survey from Japan Dairy Association, J-Milk Survey 2020. Milk is consumed almost every day by everyone in Japan, especially among the children and elders. They usually drink for, they have this very widely shared image of drinking milk in the morning for the calcium, protein intake. So if you want to grow tall, you have to drink milk. If you want to stay healthy as elders, and remember the life expectancy in Japan is 84. That's average life expected, right? So they have to take these intake. Unfortunately, there's a general discourse among the athletes and medical specialists say that Japanese people are genetically lactose intolerant. They shouldn't drink milk. And example is like many athletes prefer to take whey protein rather than drinking milk or eating cheese. So they strongly recommend not to drink milk among the athletes and medical professionals. But industry has done a good job providing this sort of positive image of drinking milk. So much so that it's almost like the mantra among the old people. If you talk to the Japanese elders, they say, "Oh, I'm drinking milk for the anti-kotsososho." You hear this word all the time. It's osteoporosis. The bones getting thinner, so that's why Japanese elders are really short. So they frail body, so they want to actually maintain the physique. Also, they talk about immunity, increase and relaxed effect, muscle building. So it has a very positive image of milk. And so there's always the conflict between these medical and athletes, professionals saying that Japanese people lactose intolerant, and then industry and elders saying that drinking milk is actually good for your healthy life. This is the breakdown of reasons why they think they shouldn't drink milk. So 70.6% of Japanese people tend to think that they shouldn't consume milk. Especially the younger generation, so between teenagers onwards until late 20s, they think that they shouldn't drink milk. And the number one reason by far, and it's actually increasing, is maldigestion. Like when I drink milk, my stomach gets upset. So if in order for the industry to do well, so the flip side of this argument is that you have to provide possibility to serve milk or dairy products without upsetting their stomach. If you can take care of that reason, these are not as important as other reasons. So if you can increase the positive image of dairy products, customers in Japan tend to think about buying them. The reasons for this is because it's general increase of dairy product import in Japan. This is the Ministry of Finance, Japan Exports and Imports, and there's butter and natural cheese, and then the list goes really long. Basically, they argue that the steady increase till 2019 in butter and cheese. And Estonia, so this is the product that didn't show up in Mr. Masaki's search, do import cheese. Now, so what do we have to do with this information? Let me remove this. Taste and cost for the dairy products, deciding factors. Women, again, the gender differentiation, prefer to taste the cost, while men don't really care about taste, to just buy the cheapest one. Interestingly, this is also the national image of dairy farmers, very positive for some reason. So they think that dairy farmers are turning the grasses that humans can eat into a white gold, right? The cow manures are great for farming, and then farmers show their respect toward animals. So the Fukushima nuclear plant meltdown in East 2011 East Japan earthquake, some of the dairy farmers kept the cows even though they suffer from radiation poisoning. So they have a very strong image of dairy farmers as very caring of animals, and also creating the employment for dairy product companies like a giant one like Guriko and Morinaga and all these companies, and Nikijirushi and all these. So they have a very positive image. After the pandemic, the consumption of vegetables and yogurt did not go up in Japan, which shows that they are already consuming as much as they feel like and can. But they still express that they want to consume more dairy products. So if you are promoting dairy products, I think there's still a chance. But this is my observation, and maybe related to energy drink. There is a bodybuilding boom. So the sports gym, like trends in Japan right now. And also whey protein is used for medical purposes as supplements for healthy life in Japanese elders. So the whey protein is the ones that you get all the benefit of drinking milk without having a lactose problem. Right? And these are the articles that really shows how the market is booming in Japan. So there's a kind of this health factors that becomes the added value to the product. And if you are thinking about dairy products, perhaps this is also one possibility. Now, I know the whey protein market is much smaller than cheese and butter, but I think these articles is convincing enough to say that these health products are booming. And the supermarket in Estonia is a huge section of protein bars and cookies. So I think there's some similarity between the two countries. So Estonian cheese has been already imported to Japan in order to increase the number. There's an urgent need to differentiate its presence. So why should we buy Estonian cheese when there's Italian cheese or Dutch cheese or Swiss cheese? And also focusing on increasing the positive image of dairy products and a consumption regarding Estonian products. So let's say if I drink this Estonian milk or eat Estonian cheese, it wouldn't have the same effect as eating other regular cheese or milk, for instance. So second item on the menu is alcohol and non-alcohol beverages. This is a report from Asahi, one of the biggest brewery in Japan. They basically show expansion of the non-alcoholic beverages market and predominantly beer, non-alcohol beer. Why are they drinking non-alcohol beer? Because of the stay home, telework, and lack of exercise under COVID-19 regulations. How does that help the non-alcohol beverages? I have to actually investigate why this could be a legitimate reasons why you should drink non-alcohol beer. They said, I need to differentiate between Monday, Friday, the weekends. So how do I know if I sit here teleworking and start drinking beer, is this like a Sunday or is this Monday? So in order for me to tell differences of time, I need a non-alcoholic beer. Also, there's several reasons more people sort of taste them. So they know familiarity with the taste and also an incredible increase in quality. Also, this is the added value in any product and health. If it's healthier than alcoholic beer, that's just good enough reason to drink that. Again, to serve as a break from drinking days, and then it goes well with the food. So they started to pay attention to food pairing. It's better than tea or water with the food. If I drink non-alcoholic beer, it goes better. Now, younger generation is refraining from drinking alcohol rapidly, actually. So they are not drinking alcohol anymore. And then there's improved taste in terms of non-alcoholic beer. So let me show you how that is dramatic, actually. So this is last 25 years of survey by the Internal Revenue Services and Alcohol Tax. This is a number of drinking age adults. It's increase of drinking age adults. And this is the amount of alcohol consumed, beverages consumed per person per year. And that's 100, it's a liter. So 101.8 liter per year. Let me show you the actual statistics. So this is the last 25 years. So 1992 was the highest. Annual consumption of alcohol per person was 101.8 liter. Now, that's not pure alcohol. It's 101.8 liter of alcoholic beverages. And 2018, the recent is the lowest, is 79.3. And alcohol intake in Europe is between 12 to 15 liters pure alcohol. And Belgium is like 13. Baltic countries is closer to the far end. Lithuania is the highest. So we are closer to 15. Let's compare that with Japanese numbers. So how does the number from Japan look in comparison with Europe? Let's say they predominantly drink beer. That's 3.965 liter per year. That means 1/3 or less of Estonian per person in terms of alcohol consumption. So
Potential for growth.
but you have a margin. You used to be able to drink this much. You have to go back if the economy as it comes back. But another thing that interesting is originally when the beer was introduced to the market, it pushed out the Japanese sake. There used to be just Japanese sake. Now the beer became most predominant drinking. But now, in most recent years, you can see the diversification of drinking. This is beer. This is low malt beer for tax evasion purposes, and then liqueur. So you can see different drinking patterns. Now, I have to actually mention something. Domestic beer market has been by far the top among all kinds of alcohol beverages in Japan since 1959, but it has been decreasing forever, almost. And then 4 major breweries are Asahi, Kirin, Suntory, Sapporo. They have 99% of share. So the margin for external companies is really, really tiny. So there has been a trend to buy expensive craft beer. Remember the general trend to the premium or low cost? Since you're drinking less, you should drink expensive drink, right? You shouldn't drink the cheap drink too much. But is this a chance for international breweries or just another internal adjustment among major domestic producers? So it's a little bit ambivalent to me. So if you want to enter Japanese market, either you talk with these big distributors or you find a way to enter the niche market and sell that. I think that's a very difficult situation to handle. So probably you have to go to Foodex to discuss these issues. Last one, organic food. Now it's obvious the world trend is increasing, right? With more and more people eating organic. Like, I mean, yesterday I went to Solaris. There's grocery store, there's bio grocery store, right? That's crazy that we have 2 grocery store in 1 floor, because this market is rapidly increasing. So the sum total of the land that produces organic vegetables has increased 2 million hectares, amounts to 71.5 million hectares all over the world, and 2.8 million organic farmers in the world, and that's a 55% increase since 2009. And this is the breakdown of the world map. Now, Asia has 60% of the world population, and they only have 9% of their lands prepared for organic food market. Whilst these 2 regions is rapidly increasing to almost like more than half in Oceania, and then Europe is catching up. So it's still a small market in terms of potential. In terms of potential, it's huge, but it's not a dominant market in Asia yet. So organic food market in Japan is 1.68 billion US dollars. And within 8 years, the Ministry of Agriculture, Fishery and Farming and Fishery estimates that within 8 years, the market will increase by 456 million US dollars. But they started the estimate 2018. They didn't even pay attention to organic food until recently. So we may have to pay attention to the actual projection. Now, in order for the organic food market to work in European countries, you have to distrust your farmers and distributors. Like if you don't like the vegetables from big grocery store, this doesn't look like natural, you go to the bio market. But I think in Japan, the basic trust between customers and producers and distributors is still strong. Because of that, I think the increase is still small, but I think it will grow exponentially. So these are the numbers. The amount of organic food to the sum total of agricultural produce in Japan is only 1.5%, very small, the 13th in the world in terms of market. Consumption, like Swiss person would spend 34 times more organic food than Japanese citizens per person. And there's ambivalent push by the government. And if you export organic food from Estonia to Japan, you have to register JS. They're legally required to be registered. But only like very small percentage of organic farmers in Japan register here because they have their own farmers union. So there's a government entity that promotes organic food, and then you have a farmers union that promotes organic food on their own. Their dialogue, their narratives are not merged yet, but they require exporting a foreign export coming into Japan to be registered. And there's the list of certified importers that provide in this website. So if you pay 900 euro registration fee to organic farmers every year, you have to make these guys work. You have to tell them that, hey, I'm giving you money and you're doing nothing. So please make sure to promote that. So that's the last part of this presentation. The summary. So general trend, either or, either cost or premium. And the one word, you just have to remember convenient. If you can put your product in there, you set then SNS reviews based on on-site samples. And then dairy products, positive image tied to health, environment, and some national and intercultural images if possible. If you can show how the Estonian dairy farmers are nice people and how they are actually increasing the health, so on and so forth, and that would be a positive value. Non-alcohol and alcohol beverages, there's ambivalent increase of non-alcohol beverages in Japanese domestic market. We have to choose whether we work with the major distributors and breweries or you're going to enter the market by yourself. And there's definitely an increase of organic food. And there's ambivalent government regulations in relation to Japanese farmers. So you can't pay attention to that. On that note, I'd like to finish my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Mori. Okay, do you have any question in the hotel? Okay.
Actually, I have.
Okay.
I'm from Foodback. I have a question about food which contains meat. Do you have any restrictions for importing such meats? For example, some countries have a restriction that meat should not contain more than 20% of the meat or something like this. Do you know about this?
Okay. They have also the other meat is how can I say, among the all the other food, meat is a little bit complicated. So there is a regulations, and then you need to refer to the JS. There is all sort of regulation there. But in terms of the content of the certain ratio of the oil, everything's not that high. Most of the difficult one is like Australia. Go to Australia is a very big high. But now it's going down because of the EPA, Economic Partnership Agreement. So now it's much more easier. If you already have experience to try to deal with Japan, it's much less right now. Okay. I hope.
So
technically, I cannot give you the percentage, but if you have looking at it, the latest one is already announced. 2019 Ministry of Agriculture, they already announced the regulations.
Okay, so there's a question from the participation in the hotel. So is there any regulation related to meat product when it's exporting to Japan? And then Mr. Masaki said that there's also regulation, but not as strict as the Australian one. What I know that in Japan, when if the importing the meat from overseas, there's an inspection. Also, the documentation that the certificate needed from the exporting countries. So it means that if Estonia want to export, Estonian company want to export the meat product to Japan, they have to have a document from Estonian authority that will be required when importing in Japan. I mean that this custom declaration. So there's several restriction and the regulation. Later I can share some slide with you that before I research about this the meat product. And then yes, Masaki-san, yeah, talk about. Oh, sorry. Do you have any question? Oh? So there is a question from the audience. So it talking about the reviews. I think it's a review about the food or product. Should the review be written by Japanese local people? Yes. Yes, Mr. Morisa said yes. Yeah. I think regarding the food, what I see in Japan, that if you go to Japan and then watch the TV in Japan, always they talk about the food, the restaurant. It's amazing that all the time they're talking about food and the restaurant. Crazy that when I come to Estonia, there's no like this kind of food TV program that go into some restaurant review. Right? I don't see at all. In Japan, all the time that it's about food, so that the market is big. And then, as Mr. Morisato pointed out, this non-alcohol beverage. I'm actually writing the report about this for that EAS newsletter. Yeah, it's getting really popular, and then also younger people they take care about their bodies. Yeah? The alcohol is bad, they think, but yeah, in addition, that non-alcohol bar also getting popular in Japan. So in Tokyo, in Kyoto, I saw that there's 100% non-alcohol bar. They got also like a quite big attention. So people go there, not they're drinking juice or like the Coca-Cola. They drink non-alcohol cocktail, so that they can enjoy and experience this the atmosphere as if you are in a luxury like bar. So this is a good point that Mr. Mosato pointed out. And then because of this non-alcohol the boom, I saw yesterday that there's in Japan they sell 3,000 euro, 3,000 euro green tea bottle. One bottle, like 500 milliliter bottle, costs 3,000 euro. It's crazy, but they say they sold out. Yeah, it's there are too much money in the market, and if you have money, yeah, they spend it. Okay, Masaki-san will
I just wanted
continue.
to have opinions because we have many things to cover, but I just wanted to have interested or not, because I prepare, if you want, what to prepare for the Foodex and then how to utilize the Foodex in a better way. If you want, I can show it, but if you're not interested, we can cut it off.
Would you like to do this more about the food exploration? And then for the technical matter about EAS program, we have my colleagues also in this Zoom right now, so we can also answer them. By the way, so
Yes.
I have one more question
Sure.
for you. What is the Japanese way of advertising? So I'm dealing mostly with Germany, and Germany is very traditional when it comes to advertising. Is that similar in Japan, or is it?
So traditionally has been always a TV and all these media, but recent years because of the lack of shared space, one of the boosting factors is like social networking site. Instagram, I mean, by far one of the top, the tapioca milk tea. It just exploded. The price, like just consumption exploded in Japan. It's all Instagram. You take a picture of the tapioca and having the tapioca time, and then that exploded. So my understanding is that usually the social networking to reach out to a certain group of people, so targeting into the specific group rather than just doing that advertisement on TV. Yeah, that's my advice.
But also, I would like to add that depend on which age group you're targeting.
Yeah.
Not only Japan, but this is worldwide. That the generation Z, they have a different idea. They follow the influencers. They check that the influencers, that the Instagram, then they buy. They don't check that the company's website, so they buy what influencers buy. So this is different, totally different. Depend on that what you want to sell.
Yeah, earlier we had this completely different industry, but he was selling the Estonian sauna, and then he had one comedian took a picture of him, and then he has 1 million followers and 455,000 likes in 1 week. So if you hit one famous guy, and he's not even the top comedian, he's one of the funny guys, and if you hit the one guy, that's just a huge, huge plus. Yeah. So you're talking about AC Milan football player having the tag of your energy drink. If you bring that guy to Japan and do the commercial, that would be huge difference. Yeah. Del Piero, yeah. If Del Piero comes
That's
to
true.
Japan and
Definitely.
yeah, absolutely. Everybody knows it, but Del Piero.
Yeah, yeah.
You might have to pay that 1 million advertisement
Yeah,
fee.
advertisement,
But yeah, this return is much
Yeah.
bigger.
much bigger.
That's true.
So if
Okay.
as long as the time is okay, then we will continue for
Food
the
tips.
the tips.
Okay, okay.
So
Uh,
Masaki-san,
Yeah, and then
this one is at the new share. No, it's better to.
that was okay, I think.
This was okay.
Yes.
No, this is now screen.
No screen. Okay.
So it means that we will share this one.
This one is a screen, isn't it? That people can see the other side.
Okay, I'll check that.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Now, as you see it, there is actually the 7 chapters. It's like a Bible. So later on, you can check it. Okay. So I'm very sorry because normally this seminar takes 2 days, but I know that you're very busy, so that's the reason we chunk it. But again, key is not I'm talking. You need to success make money. That's the most important thing, and then you pay the tax to us. Okay. That's it. Can I start? Is that okay? Good. Then I will do it for the food industry about the food. Okay, this one here. Ooh. Yeah. Okay. Preparations. You're preparing yourself for the food export. One. Another one is for key how to success it. 2 things. Okay. First one, the preparing yourself for the food X, I will explain to you. Okay, where shall we do? Okay, about overview, maybe you can have a look at the web. So where is located? Okay, so I don't explain it. Okay, but the important is the detail. I would like to show it. Okay, first one, you're going to send somebody, but you should send a decision maker or at least somebody who can talk about business. All right, that's very important. And second one is that the sort of easy to remember the product and the spoken person. So the person who understands the business also is very important. Also the website, you need to prepare at least English. Japanese, you need not to do it, but that's important. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Right. I go back. Okay.
By the way, that the FoodX application in EAS is open until September 12th. So we have 1 week.
Okay. So name card is very important actually. Assuming that this is a name card, Japanese, we are even English, our command of English is very low. This one difficult to understand it. So at least so mayday we don't understand it. So it needs to at least this one translated in Japanese. That's the Estonian milk. Also the lady name is Maria Molda. You put it in Japanese. That's helpful, I think. And then also the Cyrus director in English. And then ST is Estonia, but you should put it the Estonia at least. That's the very, very simple thing. Please do it because basically the person who visit FoodX, they visited many different booths. So the name card is very important to remember. Okay, so please do it. This one thing, very important. Second one is about the samples. The Japanese visitor, they really need to taste it. So please cut. For example, this one is like a cheese. You cut it so it's easy to to taste it. If you do not have this, very difficult. We have a one very sad result. That was actually one of the Middle East company. They wanted to set the date, but they don't prepare anything. So we could not get any feedback. So please prepare it. And this one, actually, the presenters, ladies, if it's possible, like wearing the Estonian costume, then it's against, remember what was the booth. And then she maybe present it, the food. That is very important to do it. Okay. And this one is like not really gift package, but you need to prepare Estonia. This is Estonia package. It looks like a Finland, but anyway. And then you put everything. Okay. Marimekko. Okay. Okay. I put it, name card, your company brochure, everything together, and then hand it over. That's very easy. Okay, to do it. Please prepare it. And next one here. This is actually the distributions. This is an example of actually the French tea company. It looks like so the truck of the tea. Also this one is how to decorate, how to display their product. See, such kind of thing you need to think about it. Okay, the eye catch is very important, right? This one is the example of the French one, and then also Austrian wines. There is a label there, what sort of wine there. Again, Japanese. We can understand by hearing the English, but we cannot speak. But the easy thing is that if it's written in English, they just check it and then maybe Google translation. So it's very important for communications and put a lot of product there. Okay, that's very important things. I just show just example like this, and then also you should have one Japanese speaker if it's possible. And then if you do not have anybody, ask Mr. Yoshito or like a Japanese Estonian embassy in Tokyo. Definitely they can help you. That's very important, right? Next one here. Also, in case of here, that was a French booth. This is a Miss Tea, so that they also put models. Okay, so that's the French way. And then look at here. This one is actually also the French booth. Those two gentlemen, one guy try to distribute. So it's very, very active. You need to really do it active because the Japanese is very shy like you. So if you do not approach it, they never ask. So you need to provide, and then, oh, this is very good, come, and then you can discuss it. That's very important. Okay, this one is ladies wearing the dwindle from the Austria. Okay, this one during the COVID period, maybe somebody worry about the COVID. This actually we really sort of sanitary, we protected it. There's no problem. Everybody wearing a mask. Okay, so don't worry about it. Social distancing, it's not that much issue. Okay, because only 100 people die. It's like
there is no social distancing.
Yeah, we don't die. Don't worry. 100 is nothing. Yeah. I hope nobody create for the government. Okay. All right. Good. This one was also okay. All right. So it's a lot of people. That was during the COVID period. So this year March. The next year, no problem. Okay. So please don't worry. And then here it's a quite active, very interactive booth decoration. So please think about it. Okay. This one there is no counter, but it's a well utilized wall. So that's actually the key to do it. Next one about business. Business. I think business is better. Okay. All right. Good. Okay. Sorry. It's very small. This is better. Okay. Yeah. So the Japanese, we cannot. We can speak human language, but we cannot speak English. So we can hear, but we cannot maybe respond to it. So therefore, you need to have some Japanese speaker as assistant. That's very important. And another one is that about the communication in English, there's no problem. We can utilize Google, and then also always somebody whose command of English is good in their company. So that's communication-wise, it's no problem. Okay, but the punctuality is very important. If you keep a promise, they're expecting to have some answer. So that's you need to be very punctual, and then also you need to really keep the promise. Okay. Also about the internet, email, you need to really quickly answer it. Right. That's important. Of course, they count the time differences, but you should not leave it like 3 days. Then they have a very, very bad feelings. Okay. Now, this one, that's very important. try to judge who they are. Okay, those people, according to your European, maybe you think differently. You know, those people. Okay, these guys looks like a student, you know, but they're not a student. Okay, those guys looks like a retired persons. All those people come to Foodex, but in Foodex there is no non-professional. Even if somebody look like a girl, no, they are not a girl. They are 28 years old. They are managers. So, you know, please sort of maintain your professionalism for anybody. Okay, that's very important thing. Now about recommendation, what to do. Be polite. Okay, be polite is very important. You need not to be friendly. Okay, but be polite is very important. And then you need to have a Japanese speaker as well. For example, you are the responsible person, but you need to do something. You ask the assistant, okay, keep it. And then main customer come to the booth. That assistant must tell, sorry, my boss is coming back 3:15. Okay, not like a 30 minutes. That's not good. Within the 30 minutes, what does it mean? You always need to say 3:15 or 4 o'clock. Okay, he come back in 10 minutes. It's not the Japanese way. You need to tell what time. And then, as it said, inside of your booth, you need to have a small white table. Marcos come back 14:15. Then assistant remember, my boss coming back 14:15. And then Vera, she will come tomorrow. Okay, such kind of communication is very important. Okay, it's two, how can I say, detailed practical things, but it's very important. About recommendations, okay. Again, you're going to have many name cards. So what I suggest is the following: to contact because of the conversation. This guy need to contact. You should mark, for example, like this: high potential like this, unknown like this. At least those 3 things, immediately you receive the name card, you mark it. Okay, and then about the 2 contact persons. While you are there, you make a contact, and then you ask the customer to come tomorrow. They will come. So during your stay there, you do the business. And then when you return back to Estonia, what you need to do for the rest of the people, maybe you need to categorize for such kind of thing. Retailer, food, horeca persons, and then you add on the top of these 3 marks, and then you do different way of following up. That's really effective way of using a name card. Okay, you will surprise you have many name cards. All right. Next one here. While you are in the Foodex, I really recommend you to go to the Aeon market, those big supermarket. You will see it. It's not really far from the Foodex area. 2 kilometers distance, you can already hit the Aeon mall, and then you will really get a lot of, how can I say, information. Or you need to go to the Tokyo area from. This is actually our show place. It's called Makuhari. This is actually 30 kilometers diameters. It takes about 30 minutes. You can already hit the Tokyo, and then you go around the Tokyo area. There is a department store. Department store is like, maybe if you went to Paris, the Galerie Lafayette, the Printemps, such kind of things. You can see the very high end. Probably you can recognize this, the tea sold in the 3,000 euro. You see, so that I recommend you to go there. It's not really far. It's walking distance. This is actually inside of the department store. And then another one here. Did you remember Dr. Morisato said, either high end or low end? This is actually the low end. So some Japanese people really want to have something very low price. Then you go to the Don Quixote. Don Quixote, you can have everything at a very discounted price. This one is a high end. So you should go to the both. All right. Address, I think in the my document, it's written there. Also in the evening, I recommend you to go to the Shinjuku area, Roppongi, Shibuya. Shibuya is the famous crossing area. You go there, and then you should go to the restaurant, you go to the bar, and then you really understand what sort of thing the Japanese wants to eat. Okay, that's actually the quick one. Okay, and then also important is inside of the Foodex. I recommend you to go to the Japanese pavilion. You will see how the Japanese is doing, because it looks like a competitor, but the reality is potential partner, because maybe they're going to buy your product as a private labeling, you know. So that's I'm going to maybe ask the secretariat when pavilions of Estonia comes, maybe we're going to make a tour. You know, I did it for the Russian. When the Russian came 2019, I made a tour, you know, and then actually that was 30 companies, so we split it in two, and then we go, and then, you know, each company exchange the name card with the Japanese people. All right, so you should utilize inside of the Foodex as well. Practical info, and then I'm going to returning back to the most important thing. Okay, yep, sorry, this one is actually the last one about how to utilize the Foodex very, very efficiently. I like to do it. Okay, first one, in the Foodex, it's a free of charge to do the pre-scheduled business matching. You present your product through Mr. Yoshito, and then we prepare to make a business matching. Okay, one company can meet the 5 buyers, but you need to present your product to EE, okay, Estonian enterprises, and then we're going to check it, what sort of product, then which buyer is okay, because we have 300 buyers in Japan. Okay, so we do the business, it's the free of charge if you come through the enterprise Estonia. Okay, next one, again, you need to tell to the Mr. Yoshito what sort of product you wanted to sell it. Again, we cannot get each company 2 or 3, but at least one champion product. We have a special showcase in the Foodex. That's a free of charge. Okay, we call it the new product plaza. So you should tell what sort of product you want to present to the Mr. Yoshito. Okay, the next one is this is actually depends on the Mr. Yoshito's organizations. We can also provide a national pavilion seminar. Okay, like how national Estonian product is very good. Example like Estonia Enterprise of Estonia is going to make a seminar. Maybe during the seminar, Estonia Enterprise is going to invite your company to tell something. That's also the free of charge. Okay, that's a very, very good chance. And also, we are planning to do the virtual exhibitions. Virtual exhibition is that there is a customer buyer cannot come to the show. We do the virtual exhibition on the show. So somebody is going to watching it, and then you're going to call, you go there in front of the camera, and then you can discuss with the buyer, such kind of thing. That's again, free of charge, all right? Also, this is actually depends on the government of your country, also the pavilion. I really recommend to do the inside of the pavilion, you should do the cocktail party, receptions. And then you invite already buyer who really have a very good, how can I say, feeling when you spoke with them. You tell them, come, we have our receptions, all right? And then they can sort of enjoy, you can further strengthen the tie with them, okay? Oh, embassy can organize it. Actually, many embassies, they organize like receptions. Biggest one is like France, Belgium is also there. Every year they're doing it. Again, you can invite your buyers, I think. Also, the JMA first evening, we have big receptions. You know, normally about 1,500 people gather together. That is actually opportunities to speak with your, how can I say, neighboring country. Maybe you can speak with the Finnish people, you know. We are organizing such kind of thing as well. That's a free of charge. So in the brochure, which you can have it in the email or maybe in there, this pre-scheduled business matching, please apply it as soon as possible. This is a free. Then you already have 5 buyers to meet. Okay, and then how you're going to do it? Very simple. We like a military. So like, okay, your company need to come 3 o'clock sharp, 3 to 3:20, one buyer, and then you go there. Next one is a 4:15. You need to be there, and then you have another buyer, so you can have a 5. That's already. And they are only 20 minutes. Buyer side is going to ask you a lot of questions. They're going to ask how much is it, how many quantity can you sell it. You need to be better prepared. But if you don't know what sort of thing you need to prepare, please let me know. I can help you. Okay. And then there, if it's possible to go with some Japanese speaker. Normally, Japanese buyer, they speak sort of sounds like English, but it's called the Japanese, you know. So maybe you do not understand it. Okay, so okay, that's very important to do, to prepare. And then this is the chance, the hit rate. All right, they're satisfied. This is actually 2019. All of the people were really happy about it, you see. So I really guarantee this very, very good, how can I say, opportunities to do the business. There is a lot of other things as well, but this business matching, I really strongly recommend to you do this. And sorry, just 5 minutes, sorry, excuse me. This is not really important. About success for the business market. What aspect of the consumer potential product premium? Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is about packaging. Yesterday, we went into the supermarket called, what was the supermarket? Slice. Yeah, okay. And then we saw actually the Estonian packaging is not it's quite a good one. This one here, we went to a liquor area, you know, and then lot of things quite attractive. And Dr. Morisato said, "Oh, this is very good." Dr. Morisato,
yeah, maybe I can mention, yeah, one question that you asked about the how to advertise the unconventional way of advertising is we have this like a fascination with the characters. It's like sorry, like these characters. This one probably not gonna make it, but that's halfway. So you create a certain mascot, or we call it yurukara, and then it provides this sort of like anime avatar of that product. That's actually a very efficient way to.
So this potato chips no good, right?
It's tough.
Okay.
I think that character might not make it in Japanese market, but this one is like a quirky enough to be able to hit as Estonian character in Japanese market. This is completely my personal opinion as the customer, so I might not represent the whole nation. But the if you pay attention to the other one, Japanese product, you see it in the bottom right. These are clearly these characters that they created to promote their product. So it's a pretzel, but you immediately think about these characters. And these are kind of like one factor that I mentioned as really unusual.
These characters are the product itself is meant for the adults or the kids. It looks for me that it's for the kids.
For the kids, but I think a lot of Japanese adults keep the kids inside that. Okay. That's why the regional administrators, like the cities, will create their own city mascot. And then their economic factors, it's incredible. It's like they created one character in Kumamoto, it's called Kumamon. And his economic impact was like almost like 1 billion, no, 100, within 2 years, it was 150 million US dollars economic impact with just this mascot.
Okay, yeah. But you know, maybe when you go there, you have your original, how can I say, decorations, original packaging, but later on, your partner is going to ask such kind of things. And at that time, you need to understand why they're asking it, you know.
Remember, there's a bag of the stuff that's one mascot, I think that could be a great impact factor for Japanese buyers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need not to go there with this to the food ex. No, okay. But in the future, to have a volumes, okay.
This one is like looks like a chicken. It tastes the Mandarin flavor. It's Mandarin flavor. It's nothing to do with chicken.
Yeah.
That's good point because this is a quite yeah. あとそれから斜めのやつが。
But it depends on your product. If you want to focus on serious like customer, then don't go for that.
斜めのやつがあったでしょ。これはダメっていうのはこれでしたよね。これ。
Yeah, so there's several packages that could be questionable that we thought is this one on the beer. This it has this sort of ironic diagonal labeling. I think that would confuse Japanese customers because they want really neat horizontal. They want perfection for the stickers. Yeah. So that could be really tough. I mean,
so even for example, like packaging, like if the labeling is a little bit tilted due to human error, that has like a bad impact on quality in Japan.
it might be even extreme.
If it's like a 1 millimeter inclined, get out.
Out. Yeah, it wouldn't be in the market. They always said it's a defect.
Yeah, sorry, but that is not a government regulation. Huh? You know, if it's a 1 millimeter, out. Never buy it again.
Because they think that something went wrong. You know, did somebody put something or some manufacturing error, a mechanical error? So when we see this, we understand this is European irony of like diagonal label and it's kind of draws our attention. But I think the Japanese
This one is on purpose, isn't it?
I think it is.
Yeah,
on purpose, yeah. And so we understand that.
Yeah,
but I
we
think
understand it.
if we put it in a convenience store, people go like, what happened?
And then definitely Japanese partner said, please stop this. And then what? You know, this is the peculiarity. And then, you know, you're going to have a conflict, you see?
Yeah.
I think that's it. And then the last one is about gift market. As I, the beginning, we have every month some gift season. So you see, like Valentine's Day, so we have it, same thing. Also New Year's, Girls' Days, every month. What does it mean? You should targeting the gift market. Yeah, gift market really flies. Okay. Anyway, I have a lot of information, but I hope you can get something to make money. Okay.
About gift, that I just want to say that in Estonia, there is a culture that you buy the chocolate from the supermarket and bring to that, to get this host. But in Japan, never buy from the supermarket like chocolate. We buy the special like a gift
review
the food
written by
act nicely with paper.
Thank you for the answer. Okay, got it.
Okay.
I just
So,
repeated the
yeah.
question.
So if you have any question, we can answer. Otherwise, I think now it's time to end today's seminar. So,
Question.
yeah.
Anyway, like if you have a question later, please send email to me, then we can answer by email.
And there's a few documents as well.
Yeah,
Please get
there's
it.
a few documents about the products and then the display show you can pick up. And for that Zoom, the participants, I will keep them in the EAS office. So if you come next time, then you can pick it up. And then also, if you have any question regarding this EAS Foodex program, then please send an email to me or the Catherine, who is in EAS and responsible for the program. Okay, and then the translation, okay, you will need it, but yeah, we can help you. Yeah. Okay. Then thank you very much, Masaki-san and Morisa-san. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.
And we will get this